17 SDGs, design plays a very important role. So whether you focus on water or on education, design is everywhere. So for everybody who works with that, my message is also use the power of design because it will make your story better.
Welcome to this episode of SustainabilityKarma. I'm your host Naina Gautam. On 8th March this year, New Delhi will witness its first ever edition of What Design Can Do, or WDCD Live Delhi 2025. This event will bring together innovators, designers and change makers on how design can drive positive societal change. Today we have with us Richard van der Laken, who co-founded What Design Can Do way back in 2010. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you so much.
So what is this event about?
Well, in a way, the title already says a lot, what design can do. So it's quite literally about the impact of design and creativity in general. Today, in these unprecedented times with climate change and so many things, also it's important that you can also bring a positive story to the table. And I think that design and designers, but you could also say creatives in general, are very able to bring that optimism. And that's, I think, something we need.
How has the event evolved over the years?
Yeah, it in that sense, the event evolved a lot. So we started in the Netherlands with bringing the world to the Netherlands. But there we also noticed, also in conversations with all these international people, from, hey Richard, this is really an interesting concept. And this societal impact of design is something that we here in, for example, Mexico or in India or you name it, are not always. It's not really on the agenda. And we think that What Design Can Do is a great vehicle to bring that specific point to the agenda. And so after a few years, we started in Sao Paulo, in Brazil. Then we went to Mexico City. Hosting it there now already for 5 years.
So what prompted you to hold the event in Delhi?
Well, several reasons. Of course, to do it in India for all the big reasons that we know around climate change, about equality, about also economical reasons. India is of course booming. It's the next chapter will be the India chapter, so to say. So we also have the feeling we cannot miss that. We have to be there, and we have to team up with people and organizations in India.
What is the expected outcome of this event?
Yeah, of course, the outcome of the event itself, I don't see it as a standalone thing. So first of all, the idea is bringing people together so that they can be inspired by the power of design. So it's for designers, but it's also for companies, for philanthropies, for NGOs, experience what design can bring to you, and also to society. So, of course, we hope that the outcome will be that people will be inspired and will be able to take some next steps. But of course, we also hope that new collaborations will be explored during the event. And also there, we don't just hope that, of course, we also facilitate that. So there's a beautiful speakers program, but we also have collaborations with several organizations, from the Global Methane Hub, for example, that's all around pollution issues in India and Delhi, and schools, by the way, also the Design Village, and also other, for example, Atlas University in Mumbai will also be there. So there will be all kinds of collaborations to foster that, as we call it, matchmaking.
So how are we building on indigenous knowledge?
Well, indigenous knowledge is for us always a very important topic. As we already discussed a bit, What Design Can Do has a strong focus on climate action, as we say, Sustainable Development Goal number 13, to be very precise. So quite literally, take action in the climate crisis, climate action. And many people say, well, let's try to fix that with technology. And I support that. Technology is, of course, extremely important. But you also need design. As I already explained a bit, design can bring optimism and can give you that feeling of, okay, we can do it. It's not only a crisis, it can also bring beauty and new ideas and create a lot of inspiration for how our society could look like or can look like in the near future. When we started developing that and researching that, we also discovered that, especially in the realm of circularity, design plays a super important role. It was very normal to think and act in a circular way.
So, how do you build in elements of equity and inclusivity in design?
Well, again, we do this big challenge program. And there we support startups who have a design-driven vision and also a product or a service that all started with design. And for us, it's an extremely important focus that these people, these organizations, stay independent and that they are able to make their mark as a designer. So although investments are important, it's also very important that you are able to own it. That it's not taken away from you by investors, etc.
So design is the first step of any process. How can one ensure that the intended outcome is realized in execution?
I do think it's all starts with the design process, because that's where ideas spark. So you could say that's where it all starts. But the dilemma with that whole process is that, as they say, you start with a horse and you end with a camel, and so that's always a difficult one. I think it's important that you do it in close collaboration, especially when you work for clients. It's important that both parties respect each other. There are also designers who develop their own business, and there you have another dynamics, because there you're in charge of what you do. There you are mainly, I think, influenced by how people and society responds to your product or your service, to what you developed. And of course, if you don't find markets, then you have to change your product. So again, the whole process is important, and it's also important that you are aware of what you're doing. But don't expect that when you start with something that was, as I mentioned, this horse, that at the end of the process it is still a horse. But of course, you need to be very aware of, these elements are very important. This is what it needs to be, but also, again, be aware of the fact that it's a process, and you can never keep it the same as it was in the beginning, I think.
The role of artificial intelligence, synthetic biology, big data in design today?
Also that is a big question. I think these roles are very important. And of course, I know that many designers and creatives are also a bit afraid of it. When you look, for example, at AI, you can also think, what will be my role in the future? Do people still need me? Because you can also do it with AI, and that is true. But I think it's also important to be aware of the fact that, but of course, the demand for specific jobs changes all the time. So 50 years ago, there was society was completely different. So there were also completely different jobs and needs in society. So that always changes. Now, of course, with the computer, with the World Wide Web, with all the technological developments, demands and needs changes. And that, of course, also counts for the design sector or the creative industry. I think, and with that, I mean, I'm not alone. It's of course, I think that many people say, but I think it's very important. What will become more and more important is how you look at things. So maybe ideas become more important. If a vision becomes way more important, because that vision, that idea, you can translate that into an image or a product or a brand, or you give it a name. And then suddenly AI can be a great tool. If you are an animator nowadays, then I can imagine that you think, okay, what will my future look like? Because many elements of that animation industry will be taken over by AI. On the other hand, you can also think, well, I can still make it, but it will go much faster. So I think it's important that we in the design industry see it as an opportunity. Of course, taking into account all the things that are not so positive. Like every technological tool, it has benefits and it has big dangers. I think that we as an industry or as a sector should not shy away from it, but dive into it head first. Because as we are always the forefront, we are always the avant-garde, so to say, and I think we should behave like that, and not be afraid of it. But again, also take into account that there are several elements that are extremely dangerous, and there, of course, you need governments who develop policies so that they can push back the companies who develop that.
Thank you, Richard, for such an insightful conversation. This is Naina Gautam signing off for Sustainability Karma.
Thank you so much.
Hope you like this program. We look forward to your feedback on our WhatsApp number 9818120554. For participation in this program, write to us at sustainability.karma@gmail.com. Looking forward to meet you again at the same time next week with a new episode and a new guest. Till then, goodbye from all of us. Sustainability Karma, a podcast series on sustainable development, sustainability and ESG.